Ogun State set to engage more teachers in public schools. Keep a date with Ekwa Television International on the 13th of August 2022. We'll have a governorship debate with different governorship aspirants on the plateau, with the likes of Luka Pampe. We have James Schwab-Shaka. We also have Adakum, that's for the Labour Party. We have Caleb Mutfwang, and also Nentawe. So keep a date to be an online event, and also your participation is very important because it is going to be interactive with you in participation. Welcome to the Dailies on Ekwa Television, where we look at stories making headlines on our papers. I'll be doing this with Sele Elisha. Good morning, Sele.
Morning, Tuesday.
It has been a rainy day.
Exactly, and then the cup of tea will actually, keep the body warm, while we do this.
Let's start up with Nigerian Tribune.
Yes, the first story on the paper, Buhari reverses approval of Seplet to buy ExxonMobil shares, support NUPRC. With detail found on page 6. Bandit adopt Uncle Abdullah, his daughter-in-law, 4 grandchildren in Kaduna. With detail found on page 29. NSCIA can sign peace pact over the 2023 elections, with detail also on page 3. And Lalong as campaign DG perfects up landing for APC. This is coming from the Northern Christian Group, with also detail on page 30. All banks safe and sound. This is coming from the NDIC. And a new virus lying detected in China with 35 people affected, with detail found on page 2. And I hope this will be an eye-opener to other countries around China, and even in virus, that they will actually check into what can be done to make sure that this virus is being curtailed, that it doesn't spread to other parts of China, and also that it doesn't turn out to be like the COVID, that because lots of countries were actually very reluctant, and before we realized it became a world issue. So I just hope that we'll look into this to be sure that we'll be able to curtail this, because we are still fighting the monkeypox presently. The COVID is still with us. We have the outbreak of Lassa fever here in Nigeria and many other illnesses. So I just hope that the Minister of Health will actually sit up and also see what he can do, put his hands together with other commissioners and agencies to see that we're able to keep our borders safe, that nobody come into the country and at the end of the day we'll have issues too.
Then even at the airports, there should be thorough check for people coming into Nigeria from China and even in countries that are close by, because let it not become like the Ebola issue where we had the spread. So we should be curtailed also. Even at the airports, there should be a thorough check, and also the equipment that will be used to check all this, to detect this virus, it should be available. And now this also brings to mind the issue of our health workers that are presently on strike. We need to look into this. Aside the Langia virus that we're having in China, we see the issue of the monkeypox. We recorded the cases where the 34 deaths even concerning the monkeypox, and now we see that our health workers are on strike. We just hope that they come back to work so that we can have a way we curtail this, so it will not spread and become a global pandemic like the COVID-19 that we are yet to get over up till date.
Of course, still seen. The big story on the Nigerian Tribune: fear grips the PDP leaders over the worsened Atiku wicket feud. With the Rider Rivers governor sacrifices made PDP strong opposition party. This is come from Mimiku, with detail on page 3 and 16. Bandits released 7 more kidnapped train passengers, with detail found on page 4. And actually, we can actually see the picture story here supporting the story, where we can see Mamu, we can see Gumi, and together with the family that were released yesterday. And we hope that more will be released from the dens of these robbers. Idris Ojo Kuje, prison escapee, not one of the suspected or watch-shot attackers, Akiri Dudu and the defense headquarters clarify. Photo Wave announces the new chief people and culture officer increases staff size by 200, with detail found on page 7. And the suspected accountant general Idris seek plead campaign in the 109.4 billion naira fraud case, with detail found on page 30. And that's all on the Nigerian Tribune.
And looking at the leadership newspaper, Governor Dave Umahi says federal government can't borrow 1.1 trillion naira to meet ASU's demand. Dozens infected with new Lingua virus in China. And NAF kills terrorist kingpin Shanono, 17 others in Kaduna. Details can be found in page 7 of the Leadership newspaper. The big story on 2023, Tinubu Obi on war path over supporters' utterances. The rider says call them to order. APC presidential candidate tells the Labour Party flag bearer, says Biafra obedient members are birds of a feather. It's height of mischief to link my supporters to separatists. This is coming from Peter Obi. And Pope hasn't told me to reject APC campaign DG appointment. This is from the governor of Plateau State, Simon Lalong. And Plateau governor's emergence has pacified northern APC Christians. This is also from stakeholders. On a train attack, terrorists free family of 6, including an aged woman. And we see more needs to still be done. We see what our military men are doing now concerning the release of and the killings of the terrorist group. We see in Kaduna State where they killed a terrorist kingpin Shanono and even 17 others in Kaduna, and now we see the release of the family of 6, including an aged woman. That's among those people who were abducted in the Kaduna Abuja train attack. We just say more still needs to be done. Over this week, we've been recording good news coming from our Nigerian Air Force and even the military, and I would say it's part of the call by Mr. President and even Nigerians, telling them to intensify more effort on the issue of insecurity, because we kept recording issue of insecurity where no one was safe even in our country. And now we see what our military men are doing and we applaud their effort, and we still say they should still keep doing more. We see that of where they captured those people who were behind the massacre in the church, and now we see where they say one of the person who amongst the names that were released, one person, that Ojo, is not part of them, but no matter what, if he was not part of the massacre, he was part of those who escaped from Kuje prison. So he is wanted and he's still known as a terrorist. So we just hope that the military will still keep on doing more things, and even at the borders also, the security operatives at the borders will shine their eyes, because we see that people can easily disguise to get out of the shores of this country. They should shine their eyes to get these people, and they should go back to prison. If judgments haven't been passed on them, then judgment should be passed on them, so that we'll know that our prisons will not be congested, because we had issues of congestion in our prison, in the correctional centers. It should not be congested. Judgment should be passed on people. If they are to be released, if they are found they are not guilty of the charges that it's been counted against them, then they should be released to be free men. And if they are guilty, they should go through the law that is being passed on them, so that we will not have congestion even in our prisons. Still on the Leadership newspaper, on Kenya election, it's still photo finish for Odinga and Ruto. Be firm in discharging your duties. Federal government orders new correctional officers. And we congratulate the new correctional officers, and we say they should do the work that they've signed for. Because we see where our correctional officers, people who are employed to do the work, supervise people that are in prison, we later on see that they are working hand in hand with these people. So if you've signed to do the right thing, you've signed to bring firmness, and you signed to bring peace into the correctional center, you've signed to do the right thing in the correctional center, will hold you accountable for that. We should not see issues where people will escape from prison, and we have security operatives that are supposed to guard them, but we don't know what will happen, and we'll see operations to go like for 3-4 hours, and the security operatives are just quiet about it. No one is apprehending anybody. So we just hope that the new employment that is done in our correctional centers, those people that are employed will do the right thing that they are employed for. That's all on the Leadership newspaper.
All right, let's take a look at the world of the sport from the Sporting Sun newspaper. Moses Simon of Shine's Mercy with detail found on page 9. And we have Facolet seeks 3 points against France with detail found on page 6. This is the Costa Rica 2022. Other stories here, Liverpool to hijack Barca's move from Silva. Maida denies 8 rape charge. Other stories here, federal government gives the team Nigeria heroic welcome. And Benzema, I'm very proud to be the captain. Liu thinks that Gaba Mani can each bag 20 goals. We have other very interesting, sporting news here. So you can actually get the Sporting Sun and read any of the stories that's of interest to you.
And on the Sporting Life paper, we have a caption saying, "Please go. Man United players keen for Ronaldo to leave." Man City dismisses report of Silva move to Barca, and on Premier League to permit water breaks at all top flight matches this weekend. Lukaku admits woeful return to Chelsea makes him angry, and Dezas complete Cremone's move. We have here, I dream of the Bryans every night, and Chelsea very close to a €68 million deal for the Jong. We have a caption saying Man United move, Rabiot demands €10 million per year salary. Real Madrid and Frankfurt, we have the winners where Real Madrid scored 2 against Frankfurt, and Benzema inspires Super Cup win. We have more stories where Schwartz is saying Ejuke is perfect in one-on-one. More stories still on the front page of the Sporting Life paper. Do well to visit to look out for stories concerning the sporting world that interest you.
And on Nigerian News Direct, we have Kwara Cabinet OK's initiative to support 30,000 female traders. Abiodun Ogun to engage more teachers for public schools. Polarized bank assets and others are safe and sound. This is coming from the NDIC. Seplet ExxonMobil deal, Buhari orders investigation into the alleged $100 million bribe as president backs the deal rejection by regulatory. Access Corporation LBS formalized strategized partnership to broaden competitive advantage for employees. And Lagos will strengthen partnership with the U.S. on security, technology, and good governance. This is coming from Governor Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State. We also have 2 picture stories here on the front page of the Nigerian News Direct, so you can do well to get the paper and read any of the stories that's of interest to you.
On the Daily Trust newspaper, Buhari support regulators back down on Seplat purchase of ExxonMobil assets. How Kaduna scholarship loan scheme is changing indigent students' lives. And I will say this is good. We know the small scale, the support of the small scale businesses and even loans and grants that are being helpful to people, to help people stand on their own, to be able to care and even fend for themselves and their families. But I will say, aside this loan, schools also need to call off the strike. Federal government, they need to look out for ways they can have a lasting solution, because we can't have used this issue of the small scale businesses and even loans that are given to the students to carry their minds off the academic section that has been on a standstill for over some months now. We see the scholarship that is being given to the students and also the loan scheme that is giving them, and it's even changing their lives, because this is helping them to carry their attention away from activities that will cause mayhem even in their country and if in their state and even in their family. But we'll say that they need to have a lasting solution to this issue of the ASU strike. We saw where Garba Shehu was saying parents, and even Keyamo, were saying parents need to intercede in this situation. They need to start pleading to ASU for them to have a lasting solution to this issue of the strike. And I would say it should not result to where parents will have to plead on behalf of ASU to the federal government. Federal government is supposed to supersede all these things. Federal government is supposed to give the final say. And I know that the 2 weeks that Mr. President gave has elapsed. That's why the fact that they extended it with 2 more weeks, that is making it a month. But we're not seeing anything coming up concerning this issue, resolving this issue. presently, and now we see where we are giving scholarship, we are giving small scale loans, we are giving loans to all the students for them to keep themselves busy. It is good, but this issue of the school that has been on strike for this long need to be called off, because students need to go back to school. So if you are done with school, then we know, okay, you are done with school, then you can face businesses. But your mind cannot be in businesses and you have this issue of school still pending. So we just hope that something will be done concerning this issue. That's why I thought that the Minister of Education said the allocation given to education is very small, but that is notwithstanding, the necessary things that need to be done in the educational sector need to be done, because over time now, as our education is collapsing, we see where schools are in Abuja are asked to shut down because of the issue of insecurity. We see colleges, we see secondary schools now have shut down in Abuja because of insecurity. What is happening to our educational sector? We need to look into all these things. We are having this issue of ASU, and now we are having the colleges, and we don't even know when they will. That's why the fact that schools are presently on break. We have the primary, the secondary schools are presently on break, the long semester break. But we need to look into all these things, tackle this issue of insecurity. Although they're saying that there's no issue of insecurity in Abuja, but we just hope that all the schools that were asked to shut down, when it's time for schools to resume, they will also resume alongside with their mates in other states. Then this issue of this ASU strike that have been long overdue, they will be resolved and they will come back to school. Students need to go back to school, because it's stretching it's stretching the students, the length, the years they are supposed to graduate from school. It is stretching. And also we know that people they've made up their mind that, okay, by this time I need to do this, I need to do this, and now their fate is even unknown on when they are going to leave, they are going to graduate from school. So we just hope that there will be a lasting solution to this and students will go back to school. We have here on the Muslim ticket, Pope not against my Tinubu's campaign DG offer. This is coming from Governor Simon Lalong, and says Shetima selection not a religious affair. Tinubu says Obi's supporters defaming me, and it's not true. Labour Party presidential candidate has this to say concerning what Tinubu is saying concerning the obedience, saying they are defaming him and also defaming his character. And we saw where a group of the pirates were singing a song, mocking song, mocking Tinubu, and he did not say anything concerning it, despite the fact that we debunked that people's health should not be used against them. Even if you are trying to make merry amongst yourself, even if you are trying to make yourself happy, you should not use people's state of health, the condition of their health, to mock them. And now we see where there's a backlash between Tinubu and even Peter Obi concerning the obedience. We know the supporters of Labour Party are known as obedience, where he says they are defaming him. But we just hope that whatever it is, whatever issue it is, we know it is the political era. They are not supposed to be happy with themselves. They are not supposed to smile with themselves or hug themselves. This is time where they keep on backlashing each other. But whatever the issue is, they need to settle it amicably amongst themselves. On 2023, Sultan Khan signs pact to de-escalate religious tension. Early signs shows tight Kenya presidential election, and 109 billion naira fraud. Ex-Accountant General Idris seeks plea bargain. Details can be found in page 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper. The last story, Darie to run for Senate after prison release. Details can be found in page 25 of the Daily Trust newspaper, and that's all on the Daily Trust.
And on the Business Day newspaper, the big story, rising prices of cocoa, diesel cripple Nigerian processors. SA visa delays shuttle Nigerian applicants and travel plans. You can read continuation of that story on the front page and also page 30 of the Business Day newspaper. Separate Exxon Mobil saga seeing dipping oil sector outlook, with more found on page 2. The last story on the Business Day front page, we have Naira investments suffer inflation currency risks. Detail found on page 2. That's all on the Business Day newspaper.
On the national economy, we have national economy transitions into weekly publication from 29th of August. Stakeholders recommend computer tracking system to end incessant grid collapses. Following 6 national electricity grid collapses over the past 7 months this year, the Executive Director, Research and Advocacy of the Association of Nigerian Electricity Distribution Companies, Sunday Odundontan, has said Nigeria needs computer tracking system to end the country's incessant grid collapses. According to available data, Nigeria's national electricity grid has collapsed more than 200 times in the last 9 years, regularly resulting in widespread blackouts. Odunton recommended the acquisition of supervisory control and data acquisition distributor management system, explaining that it's a centralized computer system that tracks electricity network operations from physical monitoring, remote coverage, and relay of network information. And I will say that concerning the gridlock, concerning the national blackout we do experience, we're seeing where the Ministry of Power are looking out for ways they can track this issue, the incessant gridlock, and also have a way of alarm where before any issues happening in the grid, they will be alerted before it so that they can look out for ways they can repair all those faulty machines or faulty wires. And I would say it is good. We keep seeing all these ways that are being adopted on how they can be improvements even in all the sectors. But it's one thing for it to be put into action. And I would say it needs to be put into action because all these things need a tracking system. All this need a way that people, even in the office, people who are supposed to work on it need to be alert, have the alarm on before it can go bad. So we just hope that all this will be put to practice. Then we'll not have this issue of the blackouts even in our country any longer. And downside of the national economy, NDIC boss blames banks' failure on managers. And Jai's Bank grows balance sheet by 288 billion naira. Vandalism robbed Nigerians of benefit of high crude oil prices. This is coming from NESG with details in page 5 of the National Economy newspaper, and that's all on the paper.
And on the Guardian newspaper, first starting the story with the PDP, we have party elders move to constitute campaign team, seek patience to end the crisis. Detail found on page 8. Buhari reverses approval of Seplet to buy the ExxonMobil shares, support the NUPRC. Detail found on page 2. The big story here, we see presidency turn of South despite religion. Akeredolu insists, with the rider following that saying Lalong Pope hasn't opposed my DG appointment, proud to lead the APC Muslim ticket campaign as a Catholic. Resign as VP candidate to save APC from embarrassing defeat. This is coming from the Middle Belt Congress, telling Sheitima. Lalong's appointment as Tinubu campaign DG politically miscalculations, says the group. You can actually check down and watch out for the the column concerning more of that on the front page and also page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. We have Akeredolu explain the mix-up in the arrest of the Kuje prison escapee Idris Oju, with detail found on page 5. And Igbo youth asks promoters of Tinubu to keep off Southeast. Government will not borrow 1.1 trillion naira to meet ASU's demand, says Umahi. And I wonder where we're going to get the money to meet this demand, because this is the second paper that is reflecting this story. And still in relation to what you said concerning the loan that Kaduna government is trying to give to students to further their education, of what use will it be if they are done with their secondary school education and then their tertiary institution is being put on hold? Why? Because ASU is still on strike. JAM have come out to tell us that that no matter the strike, this will not stop them from conducting examinations. So that we will keep having more candidates that have, already written their JAM, that are still awaiting admission into the university. And we know that no admission will be, offered to them, except those who are already in the session institution, have graduated. Then will now have another room. Now, only God knows what will be written on the admission letters. 2020, what to see? Is it 2020 or 2021? You can see how our academic calendar have been affected as a result of that. And then here we are hearing Governor Umahi telling us that they cannot borrow 1.1 trillion naira to meet ASU's demand. Yet we can borrow money to meet other people's demand. Yet we were able to buy cars to give to Niger Republic to fight insecurity. Yet we can borrow lots of money. We are yet to even audit the first subsidy from 2013 till date. There are lots of pending issues on ground. And then when you hear, an elder statesman speaking in that manner, it begins to baffle you. And you ask this question, is it because your child is not schooling in Nigeria that give you the effrontery to speak in that manner? There are lots of things that we have to be careful, especially as a politician, because you know that what goes up will definitely come down. You won't be in that position for long. You definitely come down and meet the same people that you made life, unbearable for. Because I always ask this question, I know this is the same thing that Nigerians will also say. You benefited from this system, so why frustrate the life of young and innocent Nigerians that also want to benefit from this? Because not everybody can afford to go to the private university, neither can they send their words abroad. So I just hope that we'll look into this issue, just like you've rightly stated. The issue of ASU is becoming really, really worrisome. We already saw it, I think, on our paper, was it this week or last week, where they say state of emergency needs to be declared on the education, not just insecurity. Because once we're able to handle insecurity, then what happened to the educational sector? I mentioned it here on the platform and I'll keep repeating it again. It's not about having the infrastructures of what use are there when we have no students to occupy that. So I just hope that we'll really, really look into this issue. Whatever it needs to be done should be done before 2023 election, so that students will be back into their classrooms. And that's all on the Guardian newspaper.
Thank you very much, Sele. But before I move over to other paper, I will take this time to relax a little bit. We'll be right back after this time out. It is still the Dailies on Equa Television. We'll be right back. Thank you for staying tuned. This is still the Dailies on Equa Television. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. Do well to drop your comments, and at this time our phone lines are opened. Call us for your contributions on stories that interest you. I'd like to take a comment from Zambuk Masi. He says, I'm greeting you all presenters. Only God will help us in this country. Yes, only God will help us in this country. Drop your comments and we'll real time on the program. On the Daily Independent newspaper, on the PDP crisis, Ayu should honor his promise and resign now. This is coming from Body George. Says insecurity may disrupt 2023 polls. Firm moves to curb aviation fuel scarcity with 60 million liters supply. Experts doubtful of hitch-free 2023 general elections says tendency for security situation to get worse before poll high. An election may end up derailed or not taking place in several places. And Sele, I will say there is no smoke without fire. We've been seeing the speculations on how the 2023 elections might be disrupted, but the chairman of INEC said nothing is going to disrupt this election. But we keep seeing that with the internal crisis that it's between the different political parties, and even within the parties they are still going through some internal crisis. And now we keep recording where there are speculations that the crisis, election, the 20 general elections might be disrupted. And I would say we need to do all what we can, all what we need to do, put hands on deck that this election will not be disrupted. Just yesterday we saw where the CDS said nothing will happen to the general election. It will be free and fair. And we just hope that it will be free and fair, because elections need to take place. People need to choose in another government into power. And now we don't want any issue of crisis. We don't want any issue of coup or any issue that would disrupt this election. So now we have like 6 months to this election. We just hope that the right people that are in charge of this will put hands on deck and do what it takes so that election will come and it will be peaceful, because so many Nigerians are anticipating for this time. So many people are looking up to time of election. Then we should not have anything that will come disrupt it. This shows that the military also need to put in more actions. Thank God the CDS is aware of this and he's trying to give Nigerians his word that election will be peaceful. Elections will be free and fair. And we just hope that right from now they will start putting hands on deck, because definitely there is no smoke without fire. And still on the Daily Independent, we have alleged 109 billion naira fraud. AGF Idris, 3 others seek plea bargain from the EFCC. Akwa Ibom government faults federal government approval of ExxonMobil's asset sales. And terrorists release children abducted on Abuja Kaduna train. Governor Ufmahi wants federal government and ASU to shift ground to end strike. And Nigerian banks are safe and sound, and they are also strong. This is coming from NDIC. How Lalong's choice as campaign DG doused the religious tension in APC. Group asking me to reject DG Tinubu Shetima campaign faceless. This is still coming from Governor Simon Lalong. Says Pope not against his appointment. JAMB releases result of 2022 UTME mop-up exams, and details can be found in page 29 of the Daily Independent. And that's all on the Daily Independent. Before you move over to the next paper, I'll take this comment from Thaddeus Shegna Johanna. He's saying, "Good morning, Equa Television. May God continue to make the station work stronger. Amen. And may God bless you guys for your wonderful presentation for the day." Thank you very much, Thaddeus. Please keep your comments rolling in, and also try to call us on our official line. It's opened for your contributions on stories that interest you. That's all on the Daily Independent newspaper.
And a New Telegraph newspaper, the first story, which is on investment, fixed deposit gov 1.89 trillion naira pension funds, says 118.31 billion naira put in road infrastructure, where I hope that we'll actually see this money that was being put in road infrastructure despite the number of potholes. I mean, yesterday we saw the number of pregnant women that die as a result of bad roads in various parts. So this will now bring to mind, if we are having about 103.31 billion naira put in road infrastructure, then which road precisely are we talking about, Tosi? Because it's really heartbreaking when you begin to see money being allocated, and at the end of the day, there's nothing to show for that. No wonder we are talking about people putting their priority right. You are the Minister of Education and you are yet doing something different, or you are the Minister of Transport and Road, and then we'll see you busy building mosques and churches, you know, misplacement of priorities. So I just hope that this money will actually be audited to be sure that it was actually really used to fix road infrastructure. NDIC reaffirms Nigerian bank safe sound, pays over 100 billion naira to depositors. Detail found on page 25. And Umahi tells the federal government and ASU, show understanding, open varsities now. You can read more of that on page 4. And on the alleged 109 billion naira fraud, court reversed bail granted to the ex-accountant general of the Federation and co-defendants. Counter-terrorism, how infighting facilitated bombing of terrorists. This is coming from the Nigerian Air Force. Why Sultan and Kain signed the Peace Pact. This is coming from Ayokule, with detail found on page 4 and also page 8. And on fuel subsidy, reps demand details of the crook-lifted fuel supply by marketers. As the writer says, 30 billion naira owned us by the federal government, crippling our businesses. This is coming from the oil coy. Theft, low production robbed Nigeria of oil benefit. This is coming from the NESG. And this is still in relation to the reps. Yesterday, they asked for, I think, an audit from the finance minister from 2013 to 2022. And I asked the question, what happened for all this number of years that we did not audit this money that was always disbursed? And now we are seeing another audit, or possibly we're seeing the reps still demanding details of crude oil being supplied by marketers. So just so when we're able to, check and balance all this thing, we'll be able to know the number of crude oil we consume in the nation. When we say that any oil is coming into, so I will be sure that black marketers are not benefiting from this, because if oil is being given out and then at the end of the day, filling stations, we are hearing that there's scarcity, they will know that there's where we'll be able to pinpoint exactly where the problem is. So I'm happy with the way reps are actually trying to sit up and actually carry out their assignment properly. The Kaduna train attack, 135 days after terrorists free 7 more victims as bandit abduct the uncle Abdullah, his daughter-in-law and others. Tinubu to Obi, tell your supporters to stop marginalizing me. I agree campaign should be issued base, says Obi, with detail found on page 3 and 7. And the Middle Belt Forum are saying running mate crisis in PDP and APC self-inflicted. Says Wike protests over the VP slot tip of iceberg. This is coming from same faith candidacy insensitive. And 2023, Bode George asks Ayu to resign as the PDP chairman, urges Atiku and Wike to shade their swords. Downside of the paper, we have a study that says short walks after meals reduce diabetes risks, and I hope we'll take this study very seriously. So we can read more of that on page 27 of the New Telegraph newspaper.
Thank you very much, Sally. On the Voice of Liberty, U.S. politician is saying this concerning insecurity. Said impeaching Buhari, voters' job, not politicians. On national security, northern groups threaten national protest until Buhari sacks his security advisors. On insecurity, we can't bear it anymore. Katsina Assembly plan to meet Masari and Buhari. While for the Kaduna train attack, how Gumi secured release of 7 more abducted passengers. Disturbed by the gory videos, images of 4 children of the same family viewed in the last video released by the attackers of the Abuja-Kaduna bound train, Sheikh Dr. Ahmed Gumi has reached out to the abductors consistently and pleaded with them to consider the release of the poor children and their innocent parents. On the escalating insecurity, set up security outfit in Kaduna, Sukapu tells El Rufai. How government officials facilitated $1.2 billion crude oil and gas theft. This is coming from a source. And Governor Lalong says concerning the 2023 Muslim APC ticket DG, Pope hasn't told me I am wrong. And still on insecurity, air group troops intensify operations along Kaduna-Abuja highway to flush out terrorists. And Kaduna train terror attack victims count down 135 days in captivity. I have a comment from Okoma Odogu. He says, God bless you guys for your wonderful job. Thank you very much, Okoma, for the words of encouragement. That's all on the Voice of Liberty.
Thank you, Tosin. And the Nation newspaper, EFCC to try 3 officials for altering pardon lists. And we have the NSCIA can sign 2023 Peace Pact. Free, fair polls needed, with detail found on page 28. The big story here say PDP crisis, why Ayu must quit now by the ex-party chairman. Bode George, the chairman, candidates can come from one zone. We have the story on the front page, and you can continue to read that on page 4 on the Nation newspaper.
Sorry, Sela, we have a caller, Frank from Benue. Good morning.
Morning, please. I enjoyed your program.
Thank you very much.
Morning, Auntie Tosi and the other sister.
Thank you.
I'm your regular listener from Makudi,
Thank
Benue
you.
State. I want to appreciate your efforts as a graduate of political science. I enjoy all you say today, particularly concerning the issue of ASU and the position if Umar is taking on the issue. So, like you earlier said, that people, students are getting in for JAM and continue writing JAM. I also suggest to federal government that at this time now, they should suspend anything JAM. Because the people are waiting. I don't they need us. From my page here, how he has they do about 100 something billion naira. If that money is recovered and paid into the offer of ASU, I think it will alleviate some of the challenges we are facing. I thank you very much, and I urge God to continue to give you people the grace to continue like this and enlightening Nigeria the way forward. Thank you very much, and I'm happy as a partner with F1 TV, and I say more grace to your elbow. Thank you, Tosi and Co in the studio. God bless you.
Thank you very much for that contribution. We appreciate. Sela, are you done with the paper?
No, still on the Nation newspaper, I have, I think, some few stories here. Nigeria not benefiting from the high crude price, says the NESG. And Akeredolu urges Nigerians to shun religious division. Downside of the paper, we have bandit abduct 5 family members and APC NEC meeting for next month. We have the picture story here, so you can do well to get the Nation and read detail of any story that is of interest to you.
On the Daily Sun newspaper, pressure mounts on Ayu to quit as PDP chairman. You must keep your word, Bode George tells him. He must go, reps saying this, and party can't waive rules for one member. This is from Baraji. Good morning, Priscilla. Hello, Priscilla. Please go on with your contribution. Please do well to call us back. On the Daily Sun, we have Dangote promises 1 billion naira rain on customers as 6 win 1 million naira each in promo. Nigerian Air Force bombed terrorist base, kills kingpin and 17 others. Rescues 26 hostages in Kaduna. 6 family members of ex-military governor, 60-year-old lady kidnapped in Kaduna train attack regain freedom. Tame your supporters, Tinubu wants Labour Party presidential candidate. God anointed Obi to be president of Nigeria. This is coming from Senator Ume, and details can be found in page 26. Mimiko hails Wike's doggedness, says Rivers governor's boldness sustained agitation for true federalism. Politics not about mere talking. This is still coming from Nyesom Wike. And Governor Lalong says Muslim ticket. Pope hasn't told me to reject DG appointment. And Karen Hapuch, Amnesty International writes Bajabiamila demand compliance to resolution to probe Premier Academy. Federal government reverses approval for Seplat to buy ExxonMobil asset, support NUPRC as ex-militant right president over alleged plot to frustrate suit on 60 billion naira amnesty center looting. Nigeria treating terrorism with kid gloves, says Akere Dolu. We have Victor from Bielsa. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning. Please go on with your contribution.
I'm not hearing very clear, please.
Go on with your contribution.
My contribution is that I want to know why is Nigerian education not moving forward? I say Nigerian education is going backward every day. Our children is at home. Why they are children are going to school in abroad? Is this not injustice? So the government should do something so that our children will go to school, because this is not the truth. Oh, they are saying their children abroad, then their children will come and rule us. Oh, this is not fair, please. Nigeria, we don't know where Nigeria is going to. Oh my God, may God forgive Nigeria in Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you very much. And all this lies back to bad leadership. And that's why we just put our hands on deck and we just hope that 2023 election will be fruitful and there will be nothing that will disrupt this election, because people need to bring in the right leadership into power. Bad governance is disturbing and affecting almost everybody in this country, and we need to fight against it. Still on the Daily Sun newspaper, Nigeria treating terrorism with kid gloves, says Akere Dolu. And on drug war, DPO 60 others bag jail terms for drug trafficking in Niger as NDLEA raid black spots in the state. Concerning ASU, civil society groups ask NLC TUC to begin mobilization for general strike, decries federal government failure to resolve unions' demand within 2 weeks. We have the last caller, Mr. David from Ghana.
Hello.
Good morning. Please go on with your contribution. We can hear you in the studio.
Yeah, Simon Peter.
Okay, thank you. Go on with your contribution.
Hello.
We can hear you. Just go on.
Can I contribute?
Yes, you can.
Hello.
Possibly the network is bad.
Yes, so do well to just call us back, Mr. Simon Peter. The last story on the Daily Sun again, Kalu 6 end to ASU strike. Details can be found in page 6. And that's all on the Daily Sun newspaper.
All right, I think the paper I'll be taking is a TB and TBS paper, which is a business paper. Fuel price hike could have been avoided with a PVC saving. This is coming from the CBD. And then we have inflation to shoot up with oil price hike. This is coming from the finance minister of Bangladesh. Can't afford any more losses. This is coming from the BPC chairman. Dollar climbs to record TK 119 in cap markets. Air passengers complain of harassment, luggage going missing at Dhaka airport. Bangladesh, India in talks for major river agreement ahead of the Prime Minister Hassani's visit. And we have training courses on proper manner will be introduced for airport staff. And I think this also should be introduced in Nigeria, because we've had issues where we see that airport staff, they do not have manners. We've even had issues of nurses also in hospitals. So I think this training courses on proper manner should also be introduced to some of our staffs in Nigeria. And that's all on the TBS paper.
Thank you very much, Sele, for doing this with me. And also making the wrong choice is detrimental to us in our country. Let's make the right choice no matter what. Have a blessed day.